Hello. There's an article where Governor Bob Riley of Alabama and the Australian Prime Minister of Australia, Kevin Rudd, had exchanged words over the use of the word redneck for Alabama. It was to do with the David Letterman show where Robin Williams was on anyway. Um, the problem is that a lot of Australians don't understand the mentality of America. I've been here, say, nearly a year and a half now, and the thing is that in America, it's a feared word society. Now, the feared word society means that um, in Australia we sing "Bar Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool?" Here, "Bar Bar Black" or "Bar Bar Rainbow Sheep, have you any wool?" We've grown up in Australia singing "Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo," and so the story goes. But here you got to catch a tiger by the toe, catch a badger by the toe, and yeah, we there's a difference in thinking. Some of our rhymes and our tunes and our songs that we sing in Australia, or what we believe Australia is singing of America, of certain songs or tunes or rhymes, are completely different here altogether, because we've adapted in Australia to make the songs to fit in with our culture. Now, Alabama is a place where there is some rednecks, there is honesty, there is some rednecks, if you want to call it that way, or crackers, as we're called. There is racial wars between, or racial word wars, or whatever may be, between um, the white people, black people, Mexican people, and Spanish people, but they mainly go Mexican for the jobs that they say that the illegal immigrants are coming to Alabama or other states to work for bugger all and get paid for it. Well, Alabama is a place also where there's a lot of Southern pride. Now, the Southern pride I don't like about Alabama myself is the greasy food, because I just can't seem to stomach it too well from living in Australia. But the dietary change has been different. But anyway, going back to Kevin Rudd and Governor Bob Riley, they exchanged words over the use of redneck. Now, for the Australian government, Kevin Rudd, here in America, you've got people who are working hard. They're giving their time to their job for nothing, a lot of the people, and working extra hours for nothing so they can have their job. Now, there's a lot of peace going on within Alabama between the racial wars. I don't know much about the gangs because I don't hang around the gangs. I live in a black community where a lot of the people here in the black community, plus ourselves, take pride in our homes. We take pride in the crime rates. We've got, the equivalent to Neighbourhood Watch here that we have in Australia. We have the police that go around patrolling, a fair bit. So we've got a fair bit of pride within where we live. We don't like crime. We don't like our homes being broken into. And, very churchy also. We've got a church just, two streets up, or if you want to call it blocks. But two streets up, we've got a church, big Baptist church, and there's a lot of Baptist people with the Southern pride. I haven't been to the Baptist church because sometimes, for instance, I'm not sure whether white people can go to the gospel type churches of the black people. Now, if I used any other terminologies, I'd probably get sued here in America for my opinions, because people want to make money out of another person's opinion or want to be offended. Now, if you, Kevin, and Bob Riley can shake hands and say, look, there was a misunderstanding between what was said and what wasn't said, because comedians can make fun of things and joke and get away with the comedian joke, but when a person's not a comedian and they make a statement, it becomes an offence or offensive, if that makes sense. Now, we do employ here, in Alabama, a lot of Australian, or have Australian companies that are here in Alabama. But yeah, the main consensus is rednecks. Yeah, there are people with redneck attitudes. That means, racial war, sayings and slangs and slurs that we do have, same as in Australia. A lot of people are just sort of ticked off with the way of not having work. There's a lot of people who go to jail because they can't afford to eat, or they've gone to crime because they want to go to jail to be fed and have a bed. They're not there because they want to be, but it's because the economy is completely different. The house, there's been a lot of corruption going on in Alabama lately, and the government and the governor and every other person are trying to stamp out corruption and make it into a less corruptible state. It's a big task. We've got illegal gambling here also that's going on. That the government is, or the governor or the government of the state government here is tackling, and in doing so, the illegal gambling people have made money from illegal gambling, so they want to be able to sue their own government if for costs. It's a crazy world. It's a real crazy world in the way that things are operated. Now, comments about, because I live here now for the time being with my wife, comments about our state would be comments about Australia's states, because, Mexico, if I had mentioned that lived in Mexico, south of Mexico in Australia, was Victoria, or can be Tasmania. But, if I said I lived in south of Mexico, and people would think, oh, you lived in Mexico, in America. No, it's not the same thing. I know I'm yambling and rumbling. But yeah, Bob and Kevin, just sort of shake hands and just say, look, I didn't understand the extent of a joke. We got a misunderstanding of our words. Shake hands, be done with it, and don't bring up the issue for too long, because people here are looking for issues to argue and fight about. Makes it uncomfortable for being an Australian here, because people want to. I had some person the other day. This is going to run out. I had some person the other day ask me if I'm related to the bloke who rode the American Indian, was it the American Indian? That motorbike. What's his name? Well, anyway, from New Zealand. You know, and it's crazy because, and am I related to Paul Hogan? Because my name's Paul. Did I meet Steve Irwin? What was Steve like? Oh, crikey, I don't know. Is that some people I don't know? Anyway, guys, I've yambled on for a long time. Sort out your differences. Please don't involve it for too long, because Aussies just haven't got the time for the rubbish that comes from it. Anyway, our jokes aren't the same as American jokes. The way we say things isn't always the same way, but I'm here to adapt because there's no other way around it. On Men's Help TV.